Hello everybody, welcome back to race 2 of the Team vs Team GT3 League between Mature Racing Club, NxtGen Racing, P1 and SimFX. Sponsored by David Appleby Engineering, Frostmaster, GT Amiga and Excite Energy Drinks. So that's the intros done. I'm sure we'll come through to those guys in a little while. So the last video on the channel was the sprint race. So 15 laps of the Red Bull Ring in the rain. So that was heavy rain setting. It was absolutely pouring it down with rain. As you could probably tell, by the time we got around to the feature race, the rain had slightened off a little bit. We only had light rain to contend with for this one by the looks of things. Weather radars didn't really show a change in the weather. But because of that, the race stewards put in that we had to use both compounds of wet tyre. So we of course have the heavy wet and the intermediate tyre. So you can run both on this. The intermediate is faster, and it's faster by about 4 seconds a lap in some cases, and you'll see that sort of play into the strategy of how it all starts off. So I'll go through a rundown as who's starting on what. So NGR E30, because he was last in the sprint, will start on pole here, and he's going to start on the wet. Viala's going to be starting on the intermediates, Buddy's going to start on the intermediates, Cutler's going to start on the intermediates, Joanna's going to start on the intermediates, Danglyball starts on the wets, Purzel starts on the wets, Purzel starts on the wets, Robinson starts on the wets, I start on the wets, and Janbu starts on the wets. So my fear with this is, because we only had 50 litres of fuel, so in theory at the most sort of our pit window was like lap 8, lap 9. I wanted to get off the wet tyre like in the short stint, because I was only planning to one stop this race. So I'd not really done any race sims, but I sort of knew how far I could get a set, a tank of fuel. I roughly knew how long a set of wets would go, and I knew that the intermediates in this would probably go a little bit longer. So my plan was pit before lap 10 and then take the intermediates to the end. Probably get. I wasn't sure when I was going to pit. I was just going to do it whenever it felt right. So let's get on with this one. So you'll see that we still battle with spray and stuff, but it isn't as bad. You can follow cars a bit easier as the lights go out. Do so everyone gets away well. Buddy gets away well, Cutler gets away well. Who's out? Jambu's fighting himself right up there as Cutler gets himself out in front. E30's lost out on a couple of places right from the get-go. The BMW doesn't get away well. That's what I've experienced this season. It really struggles to get going. Viala's trying to fend off Jambu. Jambu, of course, the winner of the last race. So he's made a cracking start in that Audi R8 and is looking to go up the inside of Viali. He does make that move stick a little bit door banging, but that's okay. Well done to those guys, that's nice done. Joanna in 6th with Purzel following close behind, Danglyball and Robinson behind them, and I purposely stayed back. I wanted to stay out of trouble. I was expecting there to be more chaos at the front, but there wasn't. So I'm a fair bit down the pack. Early days. Cutler's built up a nice little lead. Buddy in the Aston in 2nd, doing a good job in that car. NGR E30 in the first BMW. So he was my natural target for this race. Janbu in the Audi R8. Viali's slip and sliding his GTR all the way around behind him. He's noticed light rain. It's still very tricky to handle these cars. Purzel and Joanna going side by side, coming into the penultimate turn. Purzel does just back out of that one, probably thinks a little bit better of it. So I'm closing up to the pack now. A lot of these guys running on the intermediate tyres are starting to just pull away. E30 is the first wet runner. Jambu's got a little bit of rear damage as we see Buddy go very wide at turn 1. You weren't always picking up a penalty for doing that, but it also wasn't necessarily any faster because it's a painted surface. So Jambu's got some attacking to do. So E30 just struggles to get on the power coming out, and Jambu was just able to get the power down a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, I've made some places up, so what's happened here? Let's have a look. Alright, so let's have a review of what happened from me. I think some people just got bad exits, so Viali and Jowino are wide. Everyone's just a little bit slow getting going there. There's just a big pack of cars. So I'm making my way through. I've made up 3 places. So up into 8th, side by side with Viali. I brake nice and early, knowing that sort of Viali will probably keep it stuck in. He didn't, and instead sort of let me through. So that was 3 places made up in the space of 2 corners, so I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't planning on making those moves, it just sort of happened. Now I'm on the back of Dangly Ball, the GTR. And again, I wasn't pushing to get past the guy. As long as his pace was good, I was quite happy being sat behind him. No one was I was on the wet tyre, I'd be slower anyway. Cutler pulled the best strategy, just get out in front on the fast tyre. Get away with it really. And the fact that he's able to make such a good start really helped him. If you're stuck behind wet tyre running cars on intermediates, you're not making the most out of your natural pace advantage. So you should be running low 140s. Yeah, there we go, so 140.8 for Cutler, fastest lap of the race so far. And you should be running in the low 140s really, to be able to take advantage of it. And we know Jambu was running 143s with the wet tyre last time. With it being light and rain, the wet tyre is slightly quicker. So my apologies, I got my maths wrong earlier. The wet tyres are slower, but not 4 seconds a lap slow. Probably about 1 now, so we'll see how this all plays out through the race. So E30 down into 4th, considering starting on pole is actually not doing bad because the BMW is a handful of a car. Purcell carrying a little bit of front end damage, and Jambu was carrying rear end damage, so I think at some point those two have had a bit of a coming together. Of course, this damage is there until they pit, and their pit crew has a chance to change it, as we just watched Jambu getting a little bit wrong coming out of T4. That's going to cost him time all the way down here, and it's going to put Dangly Ball and me right up his chuff. As you can see, I'm quite happy sat behind Dangly Ball. Robinson behind me isn't putting up much of a challenge. I think these guys are all just getting the wet tyre stints out of the way. It's Joyner and Viali, who've both got damage running intermediates. They're effectively wasting that tyre. Pack of 3, so the battle for 5th on the road. I sort of sat here with this, and I fully expected Jambu to start pulling away, so again I didn't go full on shark attack mode, quite happy where I was. So I think here the opportunity presents itself, and Dangly Ball gets a bit of a slow run out of the last turn, and I'm going to get the move done before. Oh, sorry, no, I'm not going to get the move done. Dangly Ball, just with that GTR, just gets the power down. It's gone. So Dangly Ball's just had a bit of an issue there. Somewhere along the line, he's dropped down behind me and Robinson. So I'm now up into 6th place. I'm not really optimistic for podium here. I wasn't really confident in BMW's ability to fuel and tyre save at the same time on this track. And plus I'd had no running, so I genuinely didn't know what the drop-offs were like or anything. I was just playing this one purely by ear. I knew that I was doing a decent job on fuel. When I was behind Dangly Ball, I was able to save quite a lot. As you can see, I'm about the same. Jambu's a little bit less. I'm about the same as everyone else. See me Tokyo drifting it around the Red Bull Ring. Okay, so that's up to lap 4. Let's catch up with the action in a few laps' time. See if any pit stops get underway. top 7 then. We're coming into the pits to get these wet tyres off. We actually did a better job of fuel saving than a lot of people around us, coming with 11%. As we see the CJW-Racing boys getting on. Good stop that, boys. Big shout out to all the guys back in the factory, etc, etc. Not filling up with fuel, but I've put a little bit more fuel than I actually need. I think it went to like 91-92%, and that was so I could attack. So we can come out inside for BMW. So we're now on the intermediate tyre, the faster tyre. We've got fuel, we've over fuel now, because don't forget we were fuel saving in the first stint. I'm probably aiming to still fuel save a little bit, but not as much, nowhere near as much as before. So we've come out in 8th, considering, let's have a look, Robinson hasn't pitted yet, Buddy hasn't pitted yet, so we're on the road 6th. Essentially, as I had to brake a little. I was just not used to the way the intermediates were feeling. It did take me a lap or 2 to get used to them. I'd done minimal running on the inters, so I just wasn't used to it. Of course, now sort of aware that a couple of people might be doing their wet stints. Cutler goes around for his to finish his 8th lap. A couple of other guys are going to pit. Let's see how this all plays out when this is all said and done. So it's some BMW on BMW action for you here. NGR E30. One can wing V-Me. So both in the BMW. Slightly different variations. He's in the Walkenhorst. I'm in the just a standard factory BMW machine. Statistically, exactly the same. The only discernible difference is the Walkenhorst one's got front fog lights. If anyone can tell me any other difference between the 2 cars, please let me know. I've struggled to find one. So I'm basically on full attack mode. He's carrying more fuel than I didn't know that. He's carrying a lot more fuel, so he is revving his car out now. I'm still having to short shift a little bit. He's running very wide, coming out of the penultimate turn. I'm just going to get a better run on him coming out of here, and away I go. So he's not able to do anything to defend that one. I'm off and away. He picks up a little bit of a penalty for his trouble, but doesn't necessarily have to serve that sort of straight away. So we're up into 5th. Good for us. I'm happy with 5th. As it stands, and if I'm in 5th by the end of the race, then I'll be absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Considering I started right at the back. So one thing I've not covered in this is I just had a little bit of a moment coming out of turn 2 a lap or so ago. And I'm down in 9th, but I'm not far behind the pack, as you can see. The guys are just up ahead, so his Buddy has a massive moment there. That's what I was sort of talking about a while ago. He's going to have to recover, and he's on the racing line, but credit to Buddy, and he gets straight out of my way. He's getting back up to speed. So congrats to Buddy there. Very, very, very aware of what's going on, and got himself out of the way and recovered, and we've both lived to fight another day. The chase is on now for Viali and Robbins. So after my little moment, I was kicking myself a little bit, to be fair, because I was 5th on the road at that point. As we see yellow flags up ahead, what's happening here? That's E30 off. Where's that going to leave us? Yeah, we've now jumped E30. Struggling to recover from his spin. So we're now up into 7th, with Viali and Robertson knocking crap out of each other just ahead. We'll have a bit of a field recap actually. So Cutler is in 1st, and at this point by some distance. Jambu is behind. Looks like Jambu is 2-stopping. He's carrying low fuel and 2-stopping. Dangleball probably doing the same tactic. He did pit really early in the race. Person in 4th. Robinson and Viali 5th and 6th respectively. Then you got me in 7th. Buddy is behind me. He's very quick, so I was aware that he would be pulling back up to the back of us. And Joanna in 9th, and E30 after that little incident is in 10th. So we'll pick up the action with Robinson and Viali then. This is the on-track battle that we all want to sort of see. As Viali just gets the back end out, and that's massive damage for Viali. That's engine damage. He's gone after pit with that. And that is unfortunate because Viali was running really well on the road. Don't get me wrong, he puts us up in 6th, but I never ever want to see anyone go out with damage like that. So it's unfortunate Viali was running well. Puts me on the tail of Robinson in 5th, and I'm going to be chasing him down at this stage. So the chase is on. Pick the action up on lap 16. There's a bit of time for a recap. A couple of pit stops have happened. Battle going on for the not last challenge between Viali and Joanna. Both have had incidents in the race. Viali's got more damage as well. He's really struggling with the wet conditions. NGR 30 recovered quite nicely, seems to have settled into a rhythm now. Buddy's picked up suspension damage, so that has to, as in the sprint race, he's really going to start struggling now, unless he pits to fix that. Me and Robinson are embroiled in what has now been a 6-lap sort of battle. The problem I've got is if I'm running about and you see I'm having to do it here, I'm basically just having to stay out of his slipstream because it affects my braking, affects my downforce. I'm having to run high downforce here and really high rake on the car as well as we just go side by side. I don't fancy going side by side through this corner, so I do brake a little bit early and just aim to tuck in behind him. So you see, every time I get right behind him, I'm just getting a waft of dirty air, and it really knocks me off my stride. So it normally doesn't bother me, but in the wet conditions it really did. So as you see, I just run off there, just run off into the gravel. So that gives Robinson a breather. That means that at this point I have a bit of a look at the radar. Notice I've got clear track behind me, so I can just crack on. So yeah, that's cost me. I've got 5 laps left, probably not enough time to catch Robinson in fairness. Again, so I'm sort of happy with consolidating 6th place. You know, not perfect, but not a disaster. I've not had the best race. Feature 1. Normally feature races I'm decent at. I can pull a good pace together. I'm not a feature race specialist by all means, but Stangleball doing a really solid job up in 4th position. He's ran his 2-stop really well, ran 2 intermediate stints, and is lapping really consistently. Pretty much consistent with the 141s, with the old 140 smashed in for good occasion. Purcell carrying damage. His last lap was a 146.9, so I'm guessing that's the lap it happened on. Danglerball has closed him in. Cutler lost out to Jambu somewhere along the line, so I think Cutler did say look at lap 15 or 158, so he's had an issue somewhere along the line, and that's Jambu now up into 1st position. Cutler spent most of this race in the lead, deservedly as well. He did an absolutely solid job of getting the car off the line and just pulling his strategy to bits. So that's where we are, a couple of laps to go. Pick this up as the battles conclude. A couple of laps left, then we might as well finish this one off. Started here because we've got Purcell, who's done a really good job defending to Danglerball, but we're going to see what the effect of carrying suspension damage for so many laps does to you. Just gets it on the painted line and boom, engine damage for Purcell. Pretty terminal, that one. Of course, it's about to start lap 21, there's 2 laps to go. The question is, do you pit, because you lose 10 seconds in the pits, or do you just go around with a damaged car? We'll see how that plays out. At this minute in time, Jambu is winning and he's pulled the gap to Cutler. So unless Jambu messes up, he's got this one in the bag. So 2 wins on the trot for Jambu. Cutler, great job, 7th place. Should be 1st arguably, but we all make mistakes. Dangly Ball up into 3rd, lapping NGR 30. Purcell with that damaged car. You'll see if we go on board, it just doesn't get away. Really struggling. Consider he's going 100 and Robinson Pine's going 120 at the same point in the track. So for me personally at this point, in fact it's probably, knowing he'd got a damaged car, probably should have got off the racing line, but that being said, Robinson obviously was quite far behind. Yeah, he gets out of the way. Fair play. I'm pulling up behind this as well. I honestly thought he'd run out of fuel. I even put in the chat afterwards that he ran out of fuel. So obviously you can see Robinson had taken him. I've been taking a little bit of time out of Robinson since my spin earlier on. But that being said, I've also not been pushing it either. Knowing just how tricky these conditions are. I've had a couple of spins already. I don't want to tempt fate. So as we come round to start our last lap, you can see 5th position up ahead. He's going slowly. You don't get the benefit of this in the replay, but the delta times were tumbling, so I knew he was doing 150 laps. So I knew I was gonna get him at some point. So here's a view from the stricken Mercedes. He's pretty much unable to help as I just fly on by. He's also going to be able to take advantage of that one, I think, as he's carrying damage as well. He just drives off the circuit and hits the cone. Giovanni in 8th, Viali 9th, E30 having a bit of a nightmare race in 10th. So, lap 22, we're all knackered at this point. I was shattered. It's just been a long night of racing. You have to concentrate the entire time, you can't switch off for a minute, but massive congrats to Jambu for 2nd race win. Shout out to Cutler though. It's unfortunate that he's not on the top step of the podium today, because damn well he deserved it. But 2nd place for Cutler, I don't think he's going to be too happy about that, given how last season went for him. Dangly Ball, Mr. Consistent, has well earned this 3rd position, so well done Mr. Dangly Ball. Robinson, who, I mean, some will argue I could have had this spot had I have not messed up so much, but the thing is, I messed up so much, so Robinson did a better job than me this race, and fully deserved the points for 4th. And then me, not too unhappy about this. Yeah, I was alright with 5th. And Purcell, after having that damage, we've seen Buddy fall off the track somewhere. So Buddy's had an issue. Yeah, so I don't know what happened to Buddy there. But Joanna and E30 rounding us out to the top 10 for that one. So that's the Red Bull Ring wet races covered, completed and done. Next we bring the cars back to England, and to south of England, specifically in the iconic Brands Hatch GP circuit. I've done a little bit of testing just before reviewing this video, but owing to some circumstances I'm not going to go into, I might not be racing on Wednesday, so even if I don't race, I'm going to do the video anyway as normal, so there'll be no interruption to the sort of schedule. It's just I might not be in the race. We shall see. I've done some laps in the BMW and it feels quick, quite lively but quick, and I think if I can tame the tyre wear, I'll do a good job there if I race, so we'll see. So that is that. Also other racing stuff to see. I've just started up the GTTCC again. Did the first races on Friday, but again due to personal circumstances I didn't race them. Well, I raced half of one and then had to back out. So there'll be no videos from me this season on that. Those are being done by ADG. So ADG's got a Facebook page where he covers the video. You can go and check his channel out. He will be doing the review videos for the GTTCC. I'm in League 3 this season, so I'm in the toughest league I've been in yet, and I've not started off great. It has to be said. And that's that. So a big shout out to everyone who has supported so far. Shout out to the sponsors of the Team vs Team League, which is David Appleby Engineering, Excite, GT Mega and Thrustmaster. There are links to their website portals in the description below. There's also a link to Dark Smoker's channel. He does pro coverage, so he does the commentary of the pro aliens. So they also did races in the wet, and you can go and check out the live stream commentary of that. And there'll also be links to NxtGen Racing and Mature Racing Club and stuff below if you want to get involved in some of this. So that is all from me for tonight. Thank you for tuning in and watching as always, and I'll catch you next time.